That's another thing. Like I'm sitting here trying to log in as Mark and all that stuff, or I have to log out of one account and I realize, oh my gosh. And then for whatever reason, I have little challenges, uh, changing accounts. Okay. All
Here you
righty.
go, Chris.
Isn't that trashy? That is so awesome. So, I'm walking up for in the company I was in. When you hit the ambassador level, you here, let me mute people because we have some audio unmuters. All right, here we go. So I'm going up to go do, the basically our ambassador talk where they give you like probably 10 minutes to basically kind of share your story and all that stuff. And I go up to rolling like a redneck. We have ambassador jackets and all that. And I'm wearing camouflage flip-flops because that was my attire. So it's funny when we talk about it, and even in my affirmation, it says I get paid millions to be me because I didn't want to be anybody else. And all of you all should be basically gone, you know, this is a business where you get to create the lifestyle that you want. And the coolest thing about it is you can be you. And it's not a matter of being someone else. It's not a matter of, impressing anybody. It's really about impressing yourself. And, you know, as we were talking tonight, I was just talking to my bride, and she's, sitting here going, "What are you going to talk about on the call tonight?" And I'm like, you know what? I didn't even realize the call was in 5 minutes. Not that I did know that we have a call, and of course, whatever. Well, we've been talking a lot about skill set and personality styles. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about a different side of that. But I want to start it off because we were just sharing, talking with each other about focus. And a day or two ago, um, my wife sent me this, was a day ago, she sent me this. And she was sharing with me about how even herself um, was trying to figure out, like what do I focus on? And what am I thinking about? And what am I attracting? Because, so many times in life, and we're right now in the process of doing our taxes and stuff like that. And what she's sharing with me, she's like, you know, um, are we going to have to pay $100,000 in taxes? Or we're sitting there going, how much money are we going to have left? When all this stuff is said and done. The beautiful part about having a home-based business is the fact that you have a lot of tax benefits in what we do. And I'm not going to talk about taxes. I'm not going to talk about any kind of advice on what you should do with your taxes or anything like that. But we've been fortunate enough to earn a lot of money where it could be a possibility where we have to pay $100,000 in taxes, which I'm hoping that our CPA is good enough to where we can work all those expenses in a way, you know what I mean? But the point is that we can get caught up in thinking about things that aren't necessarily getting you where you want to go. And what she was sharing with me is that part of her focus was focused on fear. It was focused in on, things that in what you think about, you bring about. When you focus on and this is the crazy part, is sometimes people are focused on where their numbers are instead of focused on where they want to go. And what she was sharing is that she had to, in her own mind, go, you know, we're literally one person away from, that right person that comes on board to where our check shoots up to over $100,000 a month. And she's like, I had to, me personally, go, and this is her talking, and feel so blessed and have gratitude for where we are, and know that if I focus in on what I'm looking for versus on the fear of what about taxes and what about this and what about that. So she was just sharing her thoughts on what she was dealing with on focus. So she shared this with me, and I'm going to share it with you guys because I think this is good stuff. And as I'm sharing this, I want you to think about, what are you focused in on? What do you think about? Like, are you focused on the life that you want and what you want it to look like? Or are you focused in on the lack and limitation that you might be experiencing in whatever aspect of your life? So this is from Tony Robbins. And it says, here's a reminder as we all start a new week. Where focus goes, energy flows. Remember, what we feel is a result of what we're choosing to focus on. Most people focus on how to avoid pain in the short term. If we want to push our life to the next level and experience fulfillment, true quality of life, we need to be laser focused on our ultimate vision and our sense of mission, who we want to be and how we can serve and contribute to others. Focusing on the highest vision helps create energy and momentum. We can kick feelings of frustration or depression by changing the channel of our attention to how to help someone in need. It all begins on what we choose to focus on. So, I had a new promoter that was out on the boat yesterday. And it was funny because he had a few people with us that we were, now talking about the business from away. And a couple things happened. One, he got to learn and experience that he was talking a little too much as he was talking with people and sharing with people, because he was getting questions that have to do with a bunch of stuff that you only get if you talk too much. And the reason why we share in our system and our stories and everything that we do is so simple, short, and sweet, where we just share stories. And I was able to share with him how to answer every single question that you might get. Like, let me share with you how to handle every objection and every question that you get, which is step 4 in our system. And then you won't run into these things. And basically, I just kept referring him right back into this. So if they say, what's in it? You know what? That's a great question. I have no freaking idea. But all I do know is that when my buddy Chris was telling me about this, it sounded too good to be true. I was a little skeptical that coffee could do all these things. But when I tried it, I was blown away by, this is how I felt. And then he shared that. And it's funny because he was sharing that story with the friend that was on the boat. And he's telling Abby, he's like, I'm telling you, like, I'm now using this as a pre-workout. I'm using it as this, I'm using it as that. And I could not believe what I was dealing with. And then basically another person starts sharing, I've been on, anxiety medications and I'm whatever. And I'm like, well, how old are you? 21 years old. And I'm like, do you realize there's so many people that are dealing with things just like you? And your story can literally impact and change people's lives by sharing it with them. So, well, how does it work? How do you answer that question? That's a great question. Well, are you right-handed or left-handed? Well, I'm right-handed. Well, you pour it in the cup, you stir it, and you drink it with your right hand. It's pretty simple. No, I mean, how does it work? I have no idea how it works. All I know is that when I drink this is what happened for me. So guys, this is how you handle every objection that you possibly get. And I want to share with you, if you're getting objections, it's normally because you're talking too much. You are explaining too much. If you don't explain too much, you don't get questions like that. You don't get objections. Because see, this is the thing. A confused mind does nothing. So when someone's confused, it's normally because you confuse them by trying to explain stuff that you don't know how to explain because you're new. So this is how you answer every objection. I have no idea. I'm brand new. But what I do know is, so I don't know. All I know is. So I gave him scenario after scenario after scenario. Man, that's a great question. I have no idea. But what I do know is, when I drink it before I go work out, this is what happens for me. What I do know is that I was dealing with depression and anxiety, and I no longer am anymore. What I do know is this. Well, what's in it? What's the herbs? What's this? What's that? Ingredients, whatever. I have no freaking idea. Have you ever drank a Coke? Yes. Do you have any idea what's in that? No. Great. Has a doctor ever, in fact, I asked one young lady, I'm like, so what's in the medication you're taking? She goes, I don't know. I said, exactly. Nobody knows what's in the stuff that their doctors tell them to take. They just take it because it helps. So what you focus in on is how to share the benefits. So I don't know. So no matter what the question is, what's in it? You know what? I have no idea. All kinds of good stuff that makes you happy. You like to be happy, don't you? Yes. Awesome. Well, what I do know is that I was dealing with anxiety prior to being on these products. Since I've been taking them, I feel totally different. I don't know. What I do know is the benefit in your story. Guys, that's all you have to know. You don't have to be a master scientist. You don't have to be whatever. And you'll hear me say things that sound silly where, there's one side where I'll say, you don't have to know anything. You don't have to have a skill set. And it's true. You don't have to be a skilled salesperson with our products. Yet when we are teaching skill set, we're teaching you communication skill set. We're teaching you things to help you to better to be able to communicate with people. We're not teaching you a bunch of gimmicky stuff. We're just teaching you, one, how to recognize certain things, and then how to sharpen your craft of communication with other people in a better fashion. So guys, it's our business is really, really simple. And we call this Mindset Monday, or for those of you that are in Australia and yell at me for saying Mindset Monday and it's really Tuesday, you can call it Mindset Matters or whatever, you want to call it. But the bottom line is it's about mindset. And why? Because your mindset creates what you end up focusing in on. Your mindset many times will basically create your mindset is going to create your actions. Your actions are going to create your results that you're going to create. So it starts off with mindset, and it starts off with belief. Because again, one of the things I was taught getting started in this industry was your philosophies dictate your actions. And then your actions are going to then dictate your results. So it really starts off with your philosophy. So your philosophy, and you can work on philosophy, you can work on beliefs. So another thing I shared in while we were out on a boat is the boat's name is The Office, by the way, is I shared the fact that I've changed my mindset in terms of knowing what these products do for people to, I have to go do this to make money, to, that I feel responsible to share this with every person I come in contact with because of the value that it brings to people in their lives. Now, we've heard story after story after story. Disclaimer, I have to say this because we have crazy people, right? Basically, our products don't heal or, whatever the disclaimer is, y'all know what I mean, right? It doesn't heal, doesn't, resolve or whatever you want to call it. But my experience of things has been ABC, right? So many people, we have people that have shared on calls like Cheryl, where she had been taking certain medications for years and years and years. And since she's been on these products, they made such an impact in her life that not only does she not feel that she needs certain medications, but it's totally changed her life. We've been on calls, or I've been in rooms. And I remember this, I was in Houston, Texas, right after we launched this thing. And basically, it was myself and Ricky and I, and we were in front of the room, and we were just having people stand up and share. And we had no idea who the testimonials were going to be. We had no idea, what people were going to say. But I remember when this young lady, Jennifer, stands up in the room and shares the fact that for the last 2 years, she was basically trying to get up enough courage to off herself, to commit suicide, because she was absolutely unhappy in her life and she just could not get a grip or try to get in touch with her happiness. And she shared that since she's been taking these products, she no longer feels that way anymore. That she no longer, and I was there. So the thing is, she no longer feels that, to where basically, so if that's the case, and then Ian calls me up one day and he tells me, he goes, I was on a call with somebody that basically shared the product with somebody that shared the product with somebody, that this person was an extremely successful corporate America person that you would think had their whole life like they were the epitome of success. And that this person shared with them basically that they were in the process of figuring out how to commit suicide, and that since they were on this product, they no longer are having those feelings. So guys, this is story after story after story. I heard another story. I'm not going to use a person's name, but it was, I was talking to Sean the other day, and he's telling me about a friend of ours that we had no idea. We've hung out with this person or whatever, and this person was also sharing that they were basically, on Monday, I was thinking and contemplating how to do it, right? So this is the thing, again, disclaimer. I'm not saying that this is going to stop all that stuff happen, but this is what you have to realize. In the world that we live in, especially today, with all of this social distancing and disconnect that we have encountered, that more and more people are feeling ways and they are embarrassed to talk about it. They're not coming out and telling you that. And if you know anyone that's ever actually gone through with it, 9 times out of 10, all the family members all go, I had no idea they were even dealing with this. And we have a product that literally, according to the testimonials, many people are feeling totally different based on taking these products and then feeling differently in their life. So I've reframed it from, I got to go talk to somebody so I can make a paycheck or I can whatever, to I have an obligation that I need to be sharing this with every person I come into contact with it. And I've even framed it to a whole nother level of, if I knew that what I had could make such an impact in someone's life, and I didn't share with them because of fear of rejection or whatever other kind of crap that we create in our mind that's not real, then what kind of person does that make me? And I came up with the realization it makes me a freaking jerk. It makes me a jerk if I'm more worried about feeling like, they might say no, than sharing something with them that could possibly have an impact on their life in such a positive way and totally change the trajectory of which way they're going. So guys, it's just a mindset shift on how you think about it. It's a mindset. It's a mind. I was like, did I say a bad word or something? It's a mind shift to basically, my daughter's laughing at me. She's sitting right here on the counter, basically laughing at me and all this stuff, sitting there going, but it's a mindset shift. And you have the ability to do that by what you focus in on. And I shared that, Tony Robbins thing, because basically, it really is what we focus on, we bring on. And many times we get more of what we don't want. So, it's like the focus of, if your parents treat you a certain way, I'm not going to treat my kids like that. I'm not going to treat my kids like that. I'm not going to treat my kids like that. Next thing you know, you did exactly what you said you would never do because you focused in. And this is the thing about focus, is it doesn't know reality and what does. So this is what it boils down to. Whatever you least want in your life, you will have if that's what you're focused on. So if you say, I never want to be broke, I never want to be broke, I never want to be, guess what? You broke. You is broke. I know it was incorrect grammar, but you is broke. I love saying stuff trashy. You is. It's funny when I text people, I'm like, if they didn't know how I said certain things, because I'm always saying like, where you be, dog, and stuff like that in text, it looks so stupid. And I'm like, if they had any idea, like I look like an ignoramus in my grammar. But guys, what I want to share is that if you focus in on your bills, guess what? You have a problem paying your bills. And the reason why the reason why so few people are getting wealthy is because they're focused in on paying their bills, not focused in on becoming wealthy. You have to focus in on being wealthy if you want to be wealthy. And last week I shared, you cannot attract what your thoughts repel. If you are thinking that wealthy people are evil because, I mean, you could finish all the statements, right? Money is the root of all. Money doesn't grow on. Money doesn't make you. And y'all can finish all this. How many of y'all can finish? Come on, let's tell the truth. You can finish what I'm saying because that's built into your subconscious mind over and over and over. And you don't even know that that's what your thoughts are. So you have to focus in on the fact that when I look at somebody and they're in a really awesome car or something like that, I'm like, wow, they're blessed. You know, I'm going to look at it from that perspective. Wow, that's awesome that they can have that. You can't sit there and go, they're probably a jerk or they're this or that, you know? Because a lot of times, guys, we have been conditioned of this crap. There is warfare going on in your mind. There's mental warfare and spiritual warfare going on all across the world every single day, and you don't even notice it. You turn on the news, and it's designed to make you feel negative towards whatever. Now we're being turned against cops, and we're being turned against this and turned against that. Every single movie and almost every show out there, how many of you all end up rooting for the underdog, right? And we have all these shows that are sitting there, they're promoting lack and limitation, and they're basically promoting this stuff. So Spider-Man, right? Remember Spider-Man? Who's the bad guy? The millionaire guy, right? And Peter, oh, he's just this poor orphan guy being raised by his uncle and his aunt and stuff like that. And remember when the uncle goes, you know, we may not be rich, but at least we're happy. And making you think that if you have money, you're not going to be happy. And I'm going to tell you that it's easier when you have money than when you don't. It's easier. Superman, who is the bad guy? Remember Lex Luthor, rich guy. It's always a millionaire, billionaire guy in all these shows. Remember Titanic, right? Remember? You have all the rich people and they're wearing all their frou-frou stuff and they're all, you know, it just, you go up there and you're like, oh, that doesn't even look fun. You know what they're doing. Everybody's all dressed up and then you go downstairs. Remember? What happened when they went down with all the poor people? It was a party. They were dancing. They were having a good time. They were whatever. And then you're sitting there, you're watching this movie, you know, they're on the front, woo, and all that stuff, you know, king of the world, whatever they were saying on the front of the boat, you know, doing all this stuff. He drowns himself. There's all this stuff floating and you're going to sit next to her. Like, go find something else to float on, silly, you know. But the poor guy had to be the hero that dies, right? And then the rich girl gets going. And then in the end, she has a diamond that she could have had this life for a family like the biggest diamond in the freaking world. And what'd she do? She threw it away because she didn't want her family to live that type. I mean, guys, this is what's being impregnated into us through what we're watching, what we're taking in, the songs, the music, all this stuff is embedding this crap into our subconscious mind. We don't even know it. We are being programmed. Why do you think they call it programming? I mean, that's what they literally call it. It's called programming. You know, the program today is because we're being programmed. And the thing is, you have to recognize that that's what you're being programmed because you cannot attract what your thoughts repel. But you don't even know that that's what you're thinking. But if you can answer money is the root of all, and that's what immediately comes up, you know, look, money will make good people better and bad people worse. Money just intensifies whoever you are. That's all it does. You give money to someone that basically is a great person and they're going to be helping people and doing all kinds of stuff. You give money to somebody that is not a good person and they're going to be doing bad stuff with the money. It's just the way that it is. But money doesn't have a thought. It doesn't have a good or bad or a root of whatever. And if you know the scripture behind it, it's the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not money. Money doesn't have anything. It doesn't think, it doesn't whatever. Like, how is it the root of anything? It's the love of it and the silly stuff that people would do for it is where the problem is. But you cannot attract what your thoughts repel. So what are you focused in on? Because this is the reality. When we got started, and I share the story and stuff like that, but I don't know if people get it when we share it. Like My mortgage was a month behind. I'm 40 grand in credit card debt. I have a $40,000 home equity line of credit. I have a 6,000 I need to come up with to fix the air conditioning in my house. Luckily we got started here in December, right? And basically I'm focused in on buying a boat that was going to be $100,000. That's what I was focused in on. I wasn't focused in on paying my bills. I mean, should we pay our bills? Yes. Are you supposed to pay your mortgage? Yes. So that wasn't something that got me, woo, oh, fuzzy inside, like, oh, I can pay my mortgage again. No, I wasn't focused on paying my mortgage. I was focused on crazy stuff. I was focused on how am I going to come up with $100,000 to buy a boat that was a feeling for me, an experience for me, because I knew what it felt like. Guys, yesterday I was, riding around last night as we were finishing up, my daughter sitting on my lap and just hugging on me and, being sweet and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there going, this is what it's about. It's this experience that it's about. It's not about some stupid boat. It's about the experience. And that's what you need to focus in on. So guys, we're making our house plans right now, and we're looking at all this stuff and we're doing all this stuff. As I'm looking at everything, I'm looking at the experience, not a stupid house. Like the house we're in right now is fine, but it's the experience that we're going to be able to create in the new place that I'm looking towards. I go out there and I literally, like this morning, I was out there at 7 o'clock in the morning and I just drove and parked up on the levee and was looking at the water and looking at my dirt. But I was sitting there visualizing what it's going to feel like being out there, what it's going to feel like to be able to walk out my backyard and just go out on the water. And I love watching the tugboats go by and different stuff like that. And to me, it's peaceful. I have eagles and stuff that land on the power lines, like right there. I got a bald eagle right there that I'm seeing. Sometimes I see it dive into the water and grab stuff. Guys, it's about the experience. And I'm sharing with you, I was basically focused in on something that was an impossibility when my credit was shot. It went from an 8 something down into the 5s. And I'm focused in on how am I going to buy a $100,000 boat? So when I was making phone calls, I didn't care if somebody said no or not. I didn't care about whatever. I wasn't focused on, I just want to be able to pay my bills again. This is what I knew. If I get wealthy, my bills are paid. If I can pull off the boat, the air conditioning's fixed, I'm catching up, all this stuff is just happening. But again, I wasn't focused in on paying the bills. In fact, I remember it was like December something, and my wife calls me up and she's like, we have $56 in our account and $800 is about to come out on auto draft the next day for my kid's school tuition. And she's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And she's like, how do you, she's all stressed out about it. And she's basically, weirded out. I said, baby, I can't focus on that stuff. Like if I focus on that, that robs me from creating. So I borrowed the money and our first check covered everything. Boom, it was done. So guys, you have to focus on what you want, not on where you are. Your past does not equal your future. Your past, your present right now does not equal who you can be tomorrow. It doesn't like who you are tomorrow is based on the decisions that you make now, because the only thing that you have is now. The only thing that you have is where you are right this second and doing something about it. So back to, that was a rant. But it was cool. So when we're talking about this stuff on the boat and we're talking about, we're prospecting, right? So I'm sitting in the front of the boat and we have multiple people up there. And as I'm just telling stories and just going, look, you don't have to know anything, basically. And I'm saying, this is what you answer everything. I don't know. All I do know is, so it doesn't matter what it is. Oh, what's in it? I don't know. But what I do know is when I drink it, this is what it does for me. Well, how does this part work? How does the business work? I don't know. But what I do know is if I have any questions, I just put them on the phone with Chris and he answers the questions for me. So guys, you don't have to know anything. Step 4 is pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. You don't have to be Michael Jordan. You're going to pass the ball to your Michael Jordan. So as we're talking about it, we're sitting there, and then Pate's sitting there going, well, I want to do this thing too. Like, so people are hearing what we're talking about. And then this girl Amanda's on the boat, and she's like talking to her boyfriend, Daniel, who I met yesterday for the first time. And he's like, well, what do you do? And she's like, yeah, talk to him. He's looking to do something different. So it's like they're all sitting there going, and they're not in the business, and they're all sitting there telling each other about whatever. I sampled 4 people while we're out there, basically sent websites and stuff, and all I did is tell stories. Did I explain the whole business model? And he's like, I was talking to my buddy Matt, and he's sitting there going, trying to explain, well, isn't it where you get? And I'm like, this is what it is. Have you ever heard of insurance or a real estate agency? Well, yeah, I've heard of that. Well, it's just like if you have a real estate broker has a bunch of agents. And there's only one broker. Well, the thing is, we show people how to be a broker. Who makes more money, the broker or the agents? Well, the broker, because the broker can leverage his time. We have the ability to do the same thing. That was it. Done. I stopped talking. I didn't go into it anymore, because the thing is all you have to do is contrast it to something that someone can already relate to, something that they're already familiar with. Because remember, we said earlier, a confused mind does nothing. So when you start explaining all this stuff and they don't know what you're talking about, then they're going to ask more questions, because they're trying to figure things out. And people only ask a bunch of questions when you talk too much. Because, guys, all people need to do is come up with a natural, logical conclusion that if it worked for you, it's possible it might work for them. That's all they need to know. It's funny. One of my buddies, Kyle, he knows all this science behind peptides, which I don't know anything about it, except for Sean started taking them, his shoulder got better and stuff. That's all I really know about it. But the point is by me just sharing that I don't know anything about it, but Sean started taking, his shoulder got better. How many of you all like his shoulder got better? Like, what is that? And it makes you want to find out about it. And the thing is that people don't care how it works, what all they need to know. And my buddy Kyle, he wants to explain to you, like, well, when you take peptides, it does this and that. And I'm like, all I need to know is like, dude, if I take that, is the pain going to go away? Whatever? Or is this going to happen or whatever? I don't know anything about peptides, by the way. I'm not advertising peptides. I'm just saying that it's the same thing in the business. The less you say, the more people are going to, all they need to do is come up with a natural logical conclusion. Wait, Jenny drank it and this happened? Oh, this person drank it, they had more energy. This person drank it, they lost weight. This person, whatever. Well, if it worked for them, what if it worked for me? That's it. Money back guarantee. You don't need to know anymore. That's it. It's it. So guys, it's really simple. We have simple systems, 4 steps. We went over it last week, right? Guys, what we should be doing, we are closing out another amazing month. And what we need to be doing is we need to be digging down in our groups and find out who can we help get to the next level in our business. Who can we help that can break star? Who can we help that we can just help them get one more customer? Who can we help get one more promoter? We have this each one, reach one, teach one, whatever it's called. I don't even know technical, whatever, but y'all know what I mean, right? Basically, it's really who do you know and who can you help? That's where we need to be focused in on, is who can we impact? Like in the Tony Robbins thing that it said, all you have to do is focus in on, it says, channel your attention to how to help someone in need. Guys, we have a lot of people that are in need that want to make extra money. We have a lot of people that want to plug into a community and culture like what we have. What we do and how we impact people is not only our products, but it's the culture, the community, and the way that people feel about the way that you make them feel. So if you just focus in on how can you impact people, pour into people, believe in people, and help them achieve what it is that they want, guys, everything in your life can happen. You know, part of my affirmation as well is today I will help, or today I will attract a person or group of people that will use their wealth and influence to help me achieve my dreams all day long. People go out of their way to bless me. Today I will help someone in need, knowing that as I help them achieve their dreams, all my dreams come true. So this is part of my affirmation. So it's part of Basically, the story I tell myself is different than it used to be. Like, I mean, think about it. Your air conditioning's out. You're being told by your second mortgage, the home equity line of credit, that they're going to put you in foreclosure. Your other mortgage is a month behind, which one can't foreclose on it over the four. I'm not even getting to that. But the point is I wasn't focused in on that stuff. I was focused in on where I wanted to be, not on where I was. And 3 months later, we bought the $100,000 boat, by the way. And I'm sharing that not to impress you, but to impress upon you that if you have laser focus on what it is that you want to achieve in life, if you have laser focus, like right now, as we're doing this stuff and as I'm coming up with the plans and all this stuff, I'm sitting here focused in on how can I pay cash and build this sucker and pay cash and just do it. Well, guys, if you're making 100 grand a month, you can pretty much do what you want in terms of, building or whatever. Like, that's a nice little chunk you can put on it. And how long does it take to pay it off at that point? Well, how do I do that? Well, I'm just focused in on helping another person create a six-figure income. We've already helped a ton of people in the team create a six-figure income. Just need to find another person to help create another six-figure income. It's really that simple, guys. It's really that simple, is focus in on who can we impact and who can we help. So with that said, I just went off on a big long rant. And now let's go into the skill set side of what we did, even though I did go over some skill set in terms of how to answer every question is, I don't know, but what I do know is this. So we've been talking about colors. We've been talking about, personality styles. Well, we also have other styles of personalities as well. And some of you have been around for a little while. You've heard this, but we're going to talk real quick about auditories, kinesthetics, and visuals. Because if you're paying attention in our business, we want to be a student of people, because that's what we do. We impact people and we are communicating with people. So we've all heard the saying, treat others how you want to be treated, right? But it's really treat others how they want to be treated. So if you're talking to, a kinesthetic, which kinesthetics are very feeling driven. They're very driven by feelings, where an auditory is driven by sound. A visual, their sensories are sight. And so when you're talking to a visual, these are some things that you want to pay attention to when you're communicating with people, is what is the language that they're using. So a visual one will move their hands a lot, right? They're very animated in their communication. Like y'all might notice, I'm more of a visual. So visuals will say things like, you see what I'm saying? That's clear, isn't it? They're going to use things that have to do with sight, right? Where an auditory is going to be like, you hear me? How does that sound? That sounds good, doesn't it? They're going to use words that have to do with the sensory of sound. Where a visual normally talk fast, where an auditory is a slower pace. An auditory, you might ask them like, hey, what'd you do today? Well, they pause. I woke up, brush my teeth, and they start telling you every little detail about whatever. And, we went to the store and man, there was 3 stoplights I caught. Like, don't you hate when you catch all these stoplights and stuff? And then, I got in Walmart and like, I was looking for beans, but I couldn't find the beans that I wanted. And the next thing you know, I'm over here and they're just going in all this stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, can you get to the point? That's what a visual's saying, is get to the point, right? So you just need to pay attention by their the way that they're communicating. So visuals breathe high up in their chest. So when you watch their breathing habits and stuff like that, they breathe high up in the chest, where auditories are more middle, and kinesthetics, their body language is sometimes more slumped over. And they're going to use words like, that person's out of touch. I don't know how I feel about that. I can't grip the conversation. I don't grasp that concept. And they're going to use certain words in terms of that. Like if if you're talking to my wife, like she's going to grab you while you're talking to her and she's going to be all up in your space, right? Because she's a kinesthetic. So that's what she does. So it's funny especially when we're at events and I watch her connect with another kinesthetic, they're like grabbing each other, talking like it's just wild, right? And then you'll watch the visuals where when they start grabbing on, the visuals are they're trying to scoot back because you're in their space and they don't do the whole touchy feely thing, right? So they're like, oh, so you just got to pay attention to who you're talking to and watch, and then use the language that's going to connect with them, because people like themselves. People like themselves. So you want to build bridges. You want to have me too's, and it's so funny. And this is why girls do better in this business than guys, because guys go into the button contest. Like, guys are so stupid, right? Like, we'll start talking and then you'll see all the one up. And anybody ever realize that, you watch two guys and they're like Ford, Chevy, and then they start arguing over like what's better, Ford, Chevy, Dodge. And then they're like telling stories and another guy has another story that's, better than the other guy's story. And another guys are just so silly. But girls, like, it's funny, like dudes will go in the garage and like we'll come out and we told all kinds of stories, but we have no idea about real life stuff. Like, we talked about tools and this and that and all of our stupid things that we've done in the past and all that. And then we come in and we talk to our spouses, right? That they were in the kitchen hanging out. And then your wife will go, well, did John tell you about such and such with their kids? And I'm like, what's their kids' names again? Like, we don't even know the kids' names, right? Like, they come out and they know everything about everything. Like, you hear the life stories of like everything. And they're like, nope. I mean, we talked about beer. We talked about tools. We talked about whatever. Like, we didn't talk about anything of substance. Like, we're just dudes, right? So point being is, girls, when they're talking with somebody, they're not competing. They're building bridges. No way, your kids or whatever. So guys, you need to do the same thing. We have to be better communicators and pay attention to what the people that we're talking about, what they're actually saying versus what's the next story we can tell. How many of y'all, come on, let's be real. How many of y'all, you hear somebody start telling you a story and you're like, oh, I got to tell this story. So then the whole time you're not even listening to their story anymore because you're waiting for them to be quiet for like 2 seconds so where you can jump in there and interrupt them and start telling them your story, right? And then we miss whatever. And the bottom line is if you're going to forget the story, if you actually sit and listen and pay attention to what they're saying, then the story wasn't that freaking good anyway, because you shouldn't have forgot it. So pay attention to who you're talking to, listen to them, and communicate. And I know that y'all have heard this before, but you have 2 and 1 for a reason. You have 2 and 1 so where you can spend more time paying attention to what people are saying. Because people will tell you everything you need to know to basically be able to communicate with them better and build bridges. Like, I don't go and do I approach a lot of people about the business? Yes. But like the other day I went to go, they had a guy on market. I can't look at Marketplace because my wife gets mad. I buy all kinds of stuff that I don't really need. So there was a boat lift for the boathouse that I don't have yet, that I haven't even broke ground on, that was for sale, that I go and look at, and it's like a half-hour drive. And I'm talking to the guy and we're communicating with him, and the guy could care less. Like, I mentioned things that would drum conversation up to a certain degree, and he was just clueless. And at that point, I was like, this isn't even somebody that I would even want in the business, because they don't pay attention to anything. All they're caught up is within their self. But as I'm talking to him, the funny part is there was a guy that owns a construction company that was doing their fence. And he goes, what's your name? And I told him my name, and he's like, I know you. So just so happens we worked together in the past. And he started asking. So I just asked him a bunch of questions about what he was doing, all that stuff. Next thing you know, I'm sampling them and whatever. But my point is is that for me to try to prospect a guy that I know that his personality and his just the way that he acted wasn't going to fit our culture and community, I don't try to push a string, right? I don't try to get somebody to do something that they don't want to do. I say things because I pay attention to what people say. I listen to certain triggers they might say, and then what I'll do is plant a seed. And the seed is either going to grow where they're going to pick it up or whatever, or I'm done. I might plant another seed depending on how the conversation is or whatever, but I'm not going to try to get people to do anything, because one convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Like, you can't convince someone to basically want to be something or whatever. Like, look, I have a lot of friends that basically have even joined my business and haven't really done anything. And I don't call them up every day like, dude, you're going to do the business, you're going to do the business. But I was talking to one of my close friends today, and he shares with me that he has not been able to work in like 6 months because he had a hunting accident where they had an animal and basically fell, and the knife went through his hand and cut tendons and all kinds of stuff. And basically it screwed him all up. He has not been able to work, and he owns a business that he does pretty well. And he's like, dude, I'm about to have to cash out on certain things. I'm listening, but I'm not sitting there going, ooh, do my business. But I said, hey man, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through and all that stuff. But if you ever get a wild hair up your rear end and you want to, I said a little different, but I said, hey, if you ever want to get this thing rolling with me, let me know. In 90 days, we can turn your situation around. And he says, it's funny that you're saying that. He goes, I was literally telling Jen last night that I need to get with you and see what's going on and start doing this. See, the thing is, guys, is no means not now. And some people, the timing necessarily wasn't right at the time. But that doesn't mean that the timing doesn't change, right? Like, let's say, for instance, you call Mary, and Mary literally just got off the phone with her boss, and her boss just said, you know what, Mary, you have been doing a fantastic job. I want to give you a raise. In fact, I want to promote you. So you call up Mary and you're like, hey, Mary, I don't know if you're open or not, but hey, I'm expanding my business. Just want to see. Right at that second, Mary is not in an open mood. Like, she's all excited. She just got a whatever. Like, the last thing she's thinking about is doing, whatever with your little home-based business is what she's probably thinking, because she just got this prestigious, raise and all this stuff, right? 50 cents. And I'm joking, because on jobs, it's like little bumps, right? But with that being said, I'm not knocking jobs. Let me be clear about that as well. So the thing is right then, Mary wasn't open. But let's just say, 20 minutes later, Mary gets a call that basically, so prospects are neutral, by the way. It just happens to be, what timing you catch them on. So if you called, right now, Mary just got off the phone with her boss. She's not open. But 20 minutes later, Mary gets a call. Her daughter just got into this prestigious college, and she needs basically $5,000 to basically get her apartment and all this other kind of stuff. And, now you call up Mary and basically you're like, Mary, hey, I don't know if you're open or not, but hey, I'm working on a project. I'm expanding my business. Well, now Mary's open because she's just thinking, I have to come up with $5,000. 20 minutes before wasn't good timing, but now the timing changed. And the thing is you don't know what people are dealing with. You don't know what call they got from their spouse or this or that, whatever. And that time when you talk to them, they might have said they're not open right then. One of the top leaders that I've had, this dude was a recruiting machine. And he grew the fastest business in another company we were in. He was a great connector, and he just boom, boom, boom. It took us almost 2 years to recruit this guy. He kept saying no, kept saying no, kept saying no, had all these valid reasons and stuff. And when he finally got started, he shot straight to the top and all that. And you never know, because no means not now. And I'm sharing this because if you just pay attention and you pay attention. And why are we going over like body language and all that stuff? Because you want to pay attention, build bridges, not say stupid stuff that's going to turn people off, not be so consumed with yourself trying to get people to do your business because you're looking at them with a dollar sign. Oh, they'd be great. They'd be so awesome. And all this stuff that we tell ourselves and all that. Hey, if the time is not right, they're not going to be awesome. The timing has to be right for them at that time, in that moment, in that season, for them to be in that place to want to do it. And then they would be great. You know, we train racehorses. And it's funny that some of the horses with the most potential end up being your worst horses, and horses with less potential that have more heart end up being a way better horse. Like I had these two horses. One was Another Sure Thing and one was Farrell's Fame. Farrell's Fame, this horse gave it his all. When he got in the gates, this sucker shot out to the lead and they had to catch him, period. And this dude could run. But if you, in the morning, if you work them out against Another Sure Thing will smoke them. You put them in the gates, totally different animal. And the thing is that Farrell, who had less ability than Another Sure Thing, his name was Another Sure Thing. If it's Another Sure Thing, it's not a sure thing, right? I mean, you just never know. There is no sure thing. But the point is that it's better to have more heart than talent. And it's better to be hungry than it is to be talented and skilled. I would rather have somebody that's hungry. Look, we've had some people that had massive talent that have come into the team, and we've had people that were hungry that blew away the people that had more talent, or the person that should be the one because they're going to be great. And the bottom line is, you know, I remember reading the book, that was The Greatest Networker by John Milton Fogg. And he tells the story of this guy that was basically building his business for a long time. He showed up to the meetings, he did the things, he said all the stuff and all this, and his business just was not growing. And time after time after time, people will come into your business and they're going to say, you're going to be rich. I'm going to make you rich. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be your best guy. I'm going to be whatever. They're gone. They quit. They're gone. In fact, normally it's those people that quit quicker, right? And then you got some people like me that's stupid enough to stay around for 2 years not making any money, that basically just stuck and stay. They said things like, stick and stay, you'll get your pay. The only way to fail is to quit. And I'm silly enough to believe them. So I stay. Well, guys, it was true. And this is what I'll tell y'all, that I don't care who you are, if you will stick with this team, this culture, this community, this company. And when I say this team, I'm talking about the team of who we are as the Happy Co. I'm not talking about one team over another team. I'm talking about the Happy Company team. If you will stick and stay and you will plug into what we're doing, basically in the next year, if you will do the things with it, your life will absolutely change. Some of you, all your life might change just because of the culture and community, and you're getting on calls like this, and you're getting on calls with the, you know, Gary and them and all the different people that are pouring into you and all that, and your life changes because of that. Some of you all, your life is going to change because of the finances. But I promise you this, if you will basically follow a very simple system, if you plug into the stuff and keep your dreams plugged in, just like you have to keep your phone plugged in, you have to keep your computer plugged in if you want to keep the charge. But if you stay plugged in for the next year, your life can absolutely change. And I will guarantee, like I will literally tell somebody, I guarantee if you will do these things and you stick with me for a year, your life will change. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you will do these things, your life will change. So my point being, in training horses, it's not about their talent. It's way better to have somebody with heart. It's way better to have somebody that's hungry. It's way better to have somebody that really wants to make this happen, that is focused in on where they want to go, not on their challenges, not on, you know, what problems they have or this, that, or whatever. Some people, you just need to get some damn drama repellent and spray them when they come near you, because all they are is drama, and they're bringing that crap into your life, and you're trying to string them along and you want to help them because, oh, we can change their life and stuff like that. They have to be willing to change their life to be able to change their life. They have to be willing. It's like I have friends that are recovering addicts and stuff like that. And they will tell you, until you decide And decision means death of all other options. Until you decide that enough is enough, that I'm not doing this anymore and I'm not having this life, until you decide, there's nothing you can do about it. You can send them off to rehab over and over and over. We can get you to a seminar. We can do all this stuff and all that. And you can tell them to be positive and all that. Oh, it's your mind, all that stuff. And it's funny because I'll share there's one side where you don't need skill set. And then you'll hear me say, you need to build your skill set because you can't jump into a 747 and drive the thing if you don't have the skill set to drive the 747. Well, this is what I love about our system is that you get to earn while you learn. And because with step 4, all you have to do is just pass the ball to somebody else. And that's how you're going to learn. And that's where you get the skill set on how to drive your 747 that'll bring you to whatever dreams that you desire. Well, guys, I hope you got value out of tonight. I love and appreciate you all. Let's make sure that we're digging down into our teams, that we're finding out our people that are close to ranks. Let's get the people that are close to bronze. Let's get the people that are close to a star. Let's get the people that are close to whatever ranks that they can. Help them go out there and do the each one, reach one, teach one, all that good stuff. And we close out the month in a big, big way. Know that what you do matters. Know that even if you just get one more customer this month, that it makes a big difference, and that all the leaders are doing is standing on the shoulders of giants. You are the giants. You are so much greater than what you believe that you are. You have so much ability all within yourself. It's just time to believe it, grasp it, focus, and go towards your dream, guys. I hope you got value out of tonight. Love you all. Appreciate you all. And that concludes Mindset Monday or Mindset Matters for you can Australian people that get mad at me.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Always
you.
so great.
Thanks, Chris.
you.
Nailed it.
Thanks,
So
Chris.
good.
So good.